Native culture is one of the most challenging and complex cultures in the world. No group of people has had as mysterious a life as the natives, who settled in the Australian lands 50,000 years ago. They have preserved everything they have lived through from that time until today through encoded music and storytelling. Who are these natives? We are about to embark on an exciting and mysterious journey that will surprise you. Do you think the image of natives with chains around their necks is not one of the most bitter scenes in human history? But when the English and the rest of the world came to know the natives better, they were shocked. Our exciting adventure begins right here. Natives do not practice agriculture. They only gather plants as needed. They live by hunting. The reason for their lifestyle is that they consider themselves part of nature and believe that human beings are guests in this world. And their eternal life begins when they leave this world. According to the natives, humans as guests in this world must take good care of it, so they are very careful not to harm the local ecosystem. Interestingly, all these details are encoded in their thousand-year-old songs. Words that may seem meaningless at first glance can hold a lot of information, such as a small pit or hill. Natives wear minimal clothing and have no specific tools other than spears, axes, and boomerangs for hunting. Their houses are also made of plant bushes. Now let's move on to an interesting aspect. Natives do not communicate solely through speech. Colors, patterns, body markings, and encoded ways of life are as much a means of communication for natives as speaking. There is another method of communication, which is telepathy. It is a form of communication that occurs without the involvement of the five senses and only through the brain. Telepathy is said to be true and has been proven through various experiments. The main reason for the spread of telepathy among natives is that they have developed various communication techniques other than speech, and they never lie. In the native language, there is no equivalent for the word lie. Marla Morgan, in his book Mutant Message Down Under, mentioned examples of how natives use telepathy based on real native stories. For example, during hunting, a large number of natives would ambush the prey at various points. And then, in an interesting manner, they would collectively focus on one animal in the herd that is approaching and target it. They would accomplish this from a distance solely through telepathy. Another example is when natives need to cross a river infested with crocodiles. They establish telepathic communication with the crocodiles, and the crocodiles clear the path for the natives to cross. Natives are the only population in the world capable of establishing telepathic communication. They do not belong to the material world. They do not lie. They consider themselves part of nature. Due to the absence of a written language, they have developed alternative methods of communication and have internalized this method of establishing communication over tens of thousands of years, making it truly possible for them. The secrets and mysteries of the natives do not end here. They are people who have lived barefoot in forests and deserts for generations. Due to their life in the heart of nature, they have acquired various techniques for interpreting the physical conditions of other human beings. For example, by observing someone's footprint, they can easily determine their age, gender, and health status. For natives, water is the most valuable resource in nature. Since they must survive in deserts, they can go without water during the day. As we mentioned before, natives transmit information from one generation to another through encoded songs, dances, and associated locations of this encoding. Today, this fascinating information, which includes natural events and the history of sequoias, has been passed down to the current generation without any changes or interruptions over the past 20,000 years, and has been validated by scientific studies for its accuracy and validity. The location you see in the picture is a volcanic crater that was formed 4,700 years ago due to the fall of a meteorite. The oral literature of the indigenous people is so rich and ancient that even the event of this meteorite fall can be seen in their stories. The indigenous people still refrain from going to the site of this crater because they believe that if humans violate the sacred laws, a fiery demon with a voice that shakes humans descends from the sun to the earth and kills many people. This event has been narrated in various stories in the indigenous culture. And the indigenous people believe in a sacred era called the Era of Dreams, during which mythical creatures created our world and taught humans the necessary knowledge and wisdom. These mythical creatures were a combination of humans and animals. In many sacred places for the indigenous people, ancient paintings depicting these mythical creatures can still be seen. The indigenous people believe in an afterlife, and the indigenous tribes establish a ceremony called Krobori to communicate with the mythical creatures, which involves dancing, singing, and playing specific music. Each tribe holds its own unique and different ceremonies, and these ceremonies are considered sacred. Therefore, strangers are not allowed to participate or witness these ceremonies. In these ceremonies, performances related to the Era of Dreams are held. The space and celestial bodies are also sacred to the indigenous people, and each celestial body holds a different meaning for them. It is said that some of the beings mentioned in the myths of the indigenous people came from the sky to the earth. We do not exactly know what these indigenous people saw and experienced during their 50,000 years of secluded life, but it is evident that they witnessed interesting things that we, as other humans, have not had the opportunity to experience. The place you see in the picture is Ayers Rock, which, like other similar and well-known places for the indigenous people, is a sacred place. The indigenous myths explain the origin of each part of this rock. Since 2019, the government has prohibited climbing this rock due to the excessive interest and attention from tourists, which caused significant distress to the indigenous people. It is not easy to meet and see the indigenous people, who are one of the most fascinating tribes in the world. Only with permission from the indigenous residential areas can you visit them. Only a few indigenous people live outside their designated areas, and some live in the deserts. I give you a small warning that when traveling by train, you can see the indigenous people sitting and directly waving at cameras and trains at a small station you pass by, raising dust and excitement. In some areas, there are signs warning tourists not to look or stop at certain places. Do they not stop at that location? The indigenous people throw rocks at the vehicles of those who do not pay attention to these warnings. Today, the population of indigenous people reaches around 300,000 to 400,000. Until 1967, the indigenous people were ostracized from society and face significant harassment and persecution. Therefore, the crime rate among urban indigenous people is high. In a way, they try to seek revenge for their exclusion. In fact, the indigenous people were able to achieve their full human rights in 1999. People of the world continue to learn many things from indigenous people who are still not fully recognized. What kind of humans do you think indigenous people are? I look forward to hearing your opinions and suggestions.